Welcome to Contact in the Desert. I'm Alan Steinfeld, one of the hosts here on location or online on location. And I'm talking today to Chris Bledsoe, who has a pretty amazing story. I would say, Chris, I've been around a lot. And when you were on the abduction panel, people were just sort of amazed at your story because it's quite a telling of how you went from kind of freaked out to this kind of spiritual awakening. Is that fair to say that happened to you in that way?
Yes, that's the course it took, but
yeah,
of course the first few years was really difficult trying to wade through all the minds I had in front of me, you might say.
right.
Well, a lot
Well,
of interference from outside.
how did you integrate those sort of horrific experiences with the divine experiences and the rest of your life? I mean, I know it's taken you a while, but what was your process?
Well, you know, when it first happened, I really didn't realize the extent of what had happened. And of course, when I began to tell it, the whole community rejected it. You know, 15 years ago, it was a different story than it is today.
Which community are you talking about?
My own community.
Oh, your
own.
own.
I'm from North Carolina, and it's
Right.
a fundamentalist and raised in a church. And boy, it hit me right in the face. So, you know, in the UFO world back then was all nuts and bolts completely. Right. And I was speaking Japanese to them back then, so I had nowhere I could go, and so I just kind of went on my own seeking and realizing that I had Crohn's that was taken away.
You had what that was taken away? You said?
And as the people began to call me, tell their story. I had Crohn's disease for 17 and a half years.
And that was healed. Yes.
That was yes. So that alone, and seeing other things happen, like Grant Cameron knows about the dog incident. He was there and witnessed it, and that, you know, the dog was bleeding to death, and I laid my hand on her neck, and miraculously the cut disappeared and the blood stopped, and we all went, what just happened?
How did you know how to do that? Put your hand on the dog. Is that just intuitive, or did you learn that?
It was intuitive. I didn't know. It was early on after 2007. I would say it was like 2012 or 2013. I had an experience with this beautiful lady that came in 2012 at Easter. And that's what really changed my whole life, from being afraid and unsure as to what happened to us on the river 5 years earlier, to knowing what I'm supposed to do anyhow. And that's when the gifts started coming, and the ability to interact with them.
So before that, it was a lot of fear. It was little beings that were not friendly, or were they threatening, those ET-like beings?
No, they were from the beginning. The very night of the river incident, when Christian and I made it back home, we had a ruckus down at the dog pen, which is, you know, down behind our house back in the forest. And big pens, my dad had as many as 100 dogs at one time.
Right.
And that night, that was after we got home, I put the dog in the woods after whoever was in there, and she ran it out on the side, which I thought she ran it out. I ran and cut the dog off. Christopher had all he could stand. He peeled off and went to the house and locked the door. And I ran to the back of the property, knowing the dog was running something in the woods out. I didn't know what it was. I just know all these hound dogs were going berserk back in the forest. I was thinking an animal. So when I ran up and stopped against this tree to catch my breath, I turned to look behind me to see if Chris Jr. was there. and he was not there. There was something else standing there. It was about 4 feet away, just out of arm's reach, and it was 3.5 feet tall, looked like a child, glowing pale like the moon, had red glowing eyeballs. There were just lights coming from its face, had a triangle on its chest. And I said, I surrender. I don't mean you any harm. I thought, I was gone. And it said very loudly, I'm not here to hurt you. I'm here to help you.
Mm,
And that's when the crones went away. That
wow.
was the very day. And yeah, so
But then
never
more,
been a threat. I've never had a threat.
but it just took all that 5 years to kind of come to terms with what you were seeing. I mean, what was that process
Well,
like?
I was seeing it and experiencing it, and I was seeing it and experiencing it, and the whole family was. But my wife and my children, she was terrified because she was born and raised in the Pentecostal church, and that part of the church, or the fundamentalists believe it's negative, that it's demonic or something. They have no clue. In fact,
Right.
they've been deceived on this subject.
Right.
But so I had that going on, and my wife saying, please don't talk about it around the kids. And here they would come, and we had shadows walking through the house and lights shining in the windows. And so it was 5 years of pure darkness and lost in fear. We didn't know what to do. And I was struggling because I had the church people saying, no, you're playing with Satan. And then I had the UFO people saying, no, we're aliens. And I was stuck in the middle trying to figure out
Right.
this thing. So, yeah.
But
But
what
today it's better than ever.
but do you think there's something you did with your own way of thinking that helped change that around? Or what made it change?
I knew from the beginning what I knew inside, but the opposition from the community and my beliefs raising had me at uncertain and unsure. And I'm like, but I was so torn. I was like, but they healed me. But yet the church says it's this, but they healed me. And I
Right.
went through that for all these years. And when the lady came, she said, you know why I'm here. And it's time basically to understand what happened to you has to be told to everybody you see. And we're going to help you tell it with witnesses and with video and photo. In other words, we're going to allow you to take video and allow you to take photo. And immediately, Alan, it started. And I've been able to film this stuff.
Did you film the lady herself?
No, but this was at a gathering in Raleigh, Durham, in a parking lot on a Falls Lake up there. A group of people invited me to come out. I'd go to different towns and meet groups, And a lady took a picture one night of our group in the dark, total darkness, and somehow there was this glowing looking lady. It looked very much like the real thing.
Right.
Just over our group. It's incredible.
What do you know that there's other stories about a similar figure appearing in Lourdes and Fatima, Medjugorje? Have you heard those stories of? And do you think
Yes,
it's? Do you think
I have. In fact, I've heard.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll say this: that I had the pleasure of meeting probably the world's authority on the lady or who she is, and in other words, in history, Dr. George Zervos. He's Greek. He studied in Greece. He studied all over the world, and he worked on the Dead Sea Scrolls and has for 35 years out of Duke University. But just so happened we became very good friends, and I have had one major education on who this lady may be and how long she's been around. From there's depictions of her. There's actually figurines made by someone nearly 1 million years ago
Wow.
of the mother of the lady, the goddess, a female deity. Yeah. So.
So she's not just Mary. She
Yes,
could also be the white buffalo.
actually,
Yeah, go ahead. White buffalo calf woman. And
yes, exactly. In fact, yeah, I think we got a little delay here, so I
yeah,
apologize if I'm talking
no,
too
no, it's
quick.
okay. I know that's all right. But tell me what you think she. Yeah, tell
But
me.
yes, the white. Well, Dr. Zerbo said, Chris, the Catholic Church turned Mary into that lady. That lady had always been here from the beginning of time, and she's in every culture on every continent. There's a female deity, and she's always depicted basically as the mother goddess, the bringer of life, and yeah.
So she.
I
I
think
mean,
the Fatima lady.
is that yeah? It's the same
Well,
being.
what George told me, there was nearly 100,000. Yeah, there was 100,000 witnesses to that, and a lot of them put it in handwriting, which has been stuffed away. And there was a whole lot more to that than the public knows about. But there were 3 glowing orbs and a small little lady that came.
So how often does she come to you?
I rarely see her. I'm more when I'm thinking on her, meditating on her, or even if you're here with me and I start talking about her with excitement, all of a sudden the air gets, the orbs become excited and appearing around us. And so that's an experience I have her ongoing. It's just to talk about her gets them all excited. She's
Yeah,
like it's like the Hess.
I get that. I can almost feel it as you talk about it now. I think you're kind of, holding back, maybe, but I can get a sense of something when you, but the question is, what's the relationship between this female deity and the ETs? That's the part I don't get so much.
I'm pretty well sure she's in control of them.
Mm-hmm.
She has authority over them some way or another. She's in control. She has the power, and they it was them that took me to her. They introduced me to her, telling me that they just could never convince me strong enough to become public with it. Well, when they took me to the next step, which was her. When she came, it changed everything.
Yeah, because that became more of a. Yeah, that's how they're what you're saying? Sorry.
That's how I became very spiritual after that, about the connection there, how they were tied to her. And if you read the MUFON Incident, you read about the Hesses, to where they had these same beings, the very same ones with the red eyes, the little ones. They were terrified, frightened. And then all of a sudden, a wisp of smoke, and poof, here comes the lady. And she said, it's almost over. And they called her the Comforter, which is amazing because I do the same thing. So.
I may have seen something like that in a dream I call the Ancient One, but I don't know if it was exactly that same being. But so does she feel that it's going to be okay for the planet as we move into this new time, this future time?
Well, that's a lot of what my whole interaction with this thing. If I could put it all a nut in a shell, it was preparing for what's happening right now. There's just going to be a real a lot of pressure put on to find out who and what we're dealing with, right? And so none of us really know, but I'm feeling like I was put here to help tell at least one little part of it, so
Mm.
the scientists and folks can glean some kind of information.
So you saying like the government coming forward with this report recently, that's part of what is being revealed now. I mean,
yes.
and
When she came, she told me that this was going to happen. That there were truth that's going to be told, and that I needed to tell my truth.
but
That's what she said. There's the truth that's going to go.
But the truth has really not been told yet on the government side, just a small little piece. So do you feel there's a lot more coming soon within this year?
Absolutely, because here's what happens next is the funds start. Once funds start, money for research into this, then it's going to hit front and center a lot heavier to find out what this is. And it makes those of us who experience this thing a little bit more valuable, I guess you might say.
No, I think very valuable, because the government doesn't know what's going on. The scientists don't know. This is what Grant Cameron says, only the experiencers have a clue. And that's what the government probably have to come around and talk to people like, well, they already have, right? You've already had people from the government come to you. And
Yeah.
But are they
15
ready?
years now.
What's that? Sorry, what did you say?
It's been going on 15 years interaction with government. From the beginning, I mean, right after I reported it, that's when it started.
But if the government can't even say the word alien, how are they going to start to open up a spiritual awareness to this phenomena, because they're not even scratching the surface there? I mean, is it, what do you think? I lost.
Really don't know is something different. That thing alien has a big term,
Right.
a big shine. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're talking magic. This stuff is like magic. I mean, really.
Well, it's sort of magic, but it's also, I think, what we're made of. We're made of that same spirit. So it's about life. It's about sacredness. I mean, so it doesn't seem like.
I learned, Alan, a little.
Tell me. Yeah.
I got a little clue I want to throw out.
Okay.
I learned this a few years ago, but and I'm not going to say where and how, but let's just say we know that the DNA in a person's body and its muscular skeletal system is actually transmitting a signal somewhere on a radar frequency, which is a ping, and it's coming back a signal. So our body is actually in tune with something that probably created air back and forth to us. So it's like a giant computer that we're a major part of. So like we haven't even scratched the surface, but I know our bodies are doing that for sure.
Our bodies are sending out a signal to our soul, would you say, to bring in?
Well, to something out there, and it's sending a signal back.
Is that's
going off planet or out from us?
But is that the life force that's in these bodies and in the mind, or is that something else you mean?
I'm sure that there are beings, entities that's connected to that as well that can read. We're getting very deep here, but
that's
these
okay.
Things know what we're going to think before we think it. You know what I'm saying? Literally, they do. And They know how to, let's say you and I and 15 people walk outside. They know how to time perfectly when 14 others, or say 12 others, and you and two friends are looking for one split second, a certain direction, see something that nobody else does.
Right.
They're good at that. And so, yeah.
So, so we're always being observed that way. Everyone on this planet is being directed by these higher forces.
Yes, sir. They're monitoring everything we do. They're watching, they're listening, and probably interacting with us on a daily basis.
But
As
for
far as our moves, where we go, what we do.
but don't you think for a long time there's been a suppression, maybe I don't want to say negative forces, but forces that have not allowed us to be connected, and now we're finally coming into a new time? I mean,
Absolutely. Bingo. You hit it right there. That's what the awakening is about, is realizing that this force is out there and we're a part of it. It's like Star Wars, the force, you know. Something very real that is both a negative force and a positive force. You can be a part of either one.
but this awakening that's happening now, is there a time frame that you've been given, like over the next 10 years, 20 years, 100 years? I mean, when?
Well, one of the things I was told, that, and I may be wrong, but I've said it over and over. One thing she said was we would have a new knowledge by September, or no, Easter of 2026. That was the date I was given.
Wait,
That's what I put in writing to the Pentagon.
wait, September what? Say that date again. September.
Not September, but Easter of 2026.
Okay.
So what
okay.
she told
Easter.
me was she gave me a view or a vision. That's all I can say. It was like I was there. We were up over the pyramids looking east over the top of the Sphinx. I could see the Sphinx way out ahead over the pyramid. And she said, when the Red Star Regulus, which I had no clue what it was, but she said, when the Red Star Regulus constellation of Leo rises, it'll be then there'll be a new knowledge.
Wait. So you cut out for a second. You said when the Red Star Regulus flashes over. You said, wait, say that again. You said when the Red Star Regulus, yeah, what happens?
When it appears, in other words, right, when you get up in the morning and you look east and you see the constellation of Leo the Lion,
right,
the sun's not up, right? You're just seeing the constellation. And when the red star, which is the bottom end of it, rises above the horizon in the gaze of the Sphinx before the sun rises, it'll be then there will be a new knowledge. And I had no clue when a date was to that. So I've told that to some folks, and come to find out they ran it on an astrological, or however you would, a star chart. And it's going to be on the Easter morning of 2026.
wow.
And that star will be there. So pretty crazy. You know, that's all I could do was deliver what I was told, and the rest of it is something.
Well, why not? I mean, we are ready for something new. So that new knowledge will be the beginning of the awakening for the planet.
I think so.
Oh, wow.
I think so. I think we'll be there by then.
So
maybe not, but
well, I think that's a great goal for the planet. I mean, we have to stop the wars, the atrocities, all the awful things that are still going on. But you feel this is your mission in a way on this planet now, is to start to bring that awareness of a new time.
Yeah.
Well,
And just to what I'm experiencing and to share it. They're allowing me to share it with people. We have a mutual friend, Lori Wagner, right?
I
She
think,
was here for my daughter's wedding a week ago.
oh,
My daughter was married, right? So she
right,
flew out, and there were 200 plus people that came.
right.
And the wedding was on Saturday. So Sunday night, Lori stayed over till Monday. She wanted to go watch the sky. I said, okay. And we had another friend here from Pennsylvania. Well, it was thundering and lightning and not raining, but it was a nasty sky. And we were contemplating to go out. And I said, look, I knew it was going to happen because I walked outside and I asked in a humble way that orbs from the forest would come or appear ground level, not these way up high.
Right.
So when I walked back in, I told both of them, I said, don't be afraid. You might get to see something tonight if you don't be afraid. And so we all said, okay. And we walked out, and within 5 minutes, they started appearing. And these orbs, some of them would be red, some would be orange, some big as my fist, some bigger. Right. They got within 10 and 15 feet of us. Over an hour period, they kept coming. It was hardly ever a dull moment, but it blew them away. And kind of did me as well. I didn't expect it to show up with that big a force.
What are the orbs? Just energy? Are they actually beings? You know, entities? Who are
beings? I know.
Yeah.
Well, I have a good video of one of the orbs appearing, and it flies right up to a friend of mine, and we were having. They were at my house. A group of ladies came to. A friend had cancer. One of the group of ladies, so they all came with her to my house to ask for a healing for them. So I had some friends that are Native Americans, they right not far, called me the same night. I said, great, you guys come. We'll say prayer for this lady. And long story short, we were all there. Orbs started appearing. Everybody was seeing orbs and taking pictures. And we're talking visible orbs, that appear like a beach ball right in front of you. And so this, while these Indians, these Native Americans were chanting their prayer at this tree, burning tree on my other property.
Right.
I'm standing beside Sharon, and her friend is on. I'm between these two ladies, standing there watching the ceremony or this prayer, and the orb appears directly in front of the this girl with the camera with her cell phone.
Right.
It approaches straight at me, and then it flashes. And the orb's rotating when it appears. Here it comes, rotating. They're always spinning. And it makes this bright flash. And out comes a 6 foot tall energy being of light. We have it on video. Wow. And that night, on Monday morning, she went to the doctor. She came because her scan was on Monday, and she was wanting prayer before that. So she went to her doctor's appointment. He was so excited, he put it on Facebook because her whole blood platelet had completely changed, and these 7 tumors in her lungs were gone. So,
wow. I think you're going to have a lot of people showing up at your door with that story. That's great. That is, but if that's the energy, and wow, thank you for sharing that. That is. So
that's kind of what I've been doing for the last 15 years, not out in the public and all, but going from town to town with groups of people from, organized groups will call me. It might be a dozen people and different families, and we'll go to a restaurant and then go out to a field of sky watch or something.
Well,
I've seen some very amazing things.
I'd love to organize something for you in New York. So I'll be in touch. And but amazing. Yeah, thank you for the work, the hard work. I mean, I guess you don't have a choice. This is what you're here to do, right? I mean, this is,
Yeah, this is my life now. My wife had a hard time understanding I'm not the person she married. I'm different, completely different. I used to be a hunter, a fisherman. I mean, I still like to fish, but I haven't been in a long time. But I used to do a lot of hunting, big game hunting. And now I don't like to hurt a buck. It's
uh,
just not me anymore. I completely changed.
but your family's changed too. Your sons, your daughter, they've all changed and experienced as well. This,
Oh yeah, yeah. They're probably more experienced than most you people you know out there because they
right?
live with. My son Ryan is starting a new podcast about um, how it was like to grow up in a haunted house. He said, and but
Well,
it's
but
pretty amazing.
I think you're right. It is magic, but it's also new knowledge, like you said. I think we're coming into a time where we have to welcome this miraculous energy coming to the planet, and so it's way beyond ETs and UFOs. That's just the beginning of
Yeah,
a higher dimension in coming through us to us.
it reminds me of that backdrop you got, like a
Oh,
matrix. I think that's where
yeah.
we're going to find out we're more in the matrix, an illusion than we understand. About the
Yeah,
journey of the soul, I believe.
it, yeah, thank you, Chris. I know you have to go. I mean, I could talk to you for hours, but I appreciate your time here, and I support whatever you're putting out there, whatever you're doing to make this bridge into this next level of reality. I totally support that. I'm going to tell my friend Mark Sims, who's putting on the harmonic convergence. I'm going to tell him about you, and thank you for coming to Contact in the Desert and sharing your adventures of spirit. This is going to change, I think, a lot of people and to bring them to another level. So
It's already happening. I get a lot of letters from people all the time saying that their whole life has changed. They see this in a different way. All kinds of positive stuff. I love it.
yeah, because what I like, it's not about you. It's not a you. It's like you're doing this for something bigger. There's a bigger, yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah. It's not about me. I'm just a one drop of water in a big old sea, right? But I want to share it, and that's what they want me to do. They want the truth out there, and I guess
the,
we're going to share one little glimmer of it.
the truth being that we're connected to a higher dimension. Is that what you feel? What do you say the truth is when you
Yeah.
say that? The truth.
Well, I don't know. I think we're on this path to learn that together, and
Right.
but I don't see this as an alien threat. I see this more as uh, drawing closer to whoever created us and for what reasons, maybe.
Mm.
What it's about for the individual. I think it's more about the individual and the journey of the soul than anything.
Why is the government having such a hard time telling us this?
Well, I don't know. I really don't know, and but I know there's been a secrecy on this thing, and I think it's more been by the church than anything. These big
Right.
churches are very powerful, and
Mm.
trust me, in the UFO world, they're all in it. The Mormon church, the Scientology church, the Catholic church, they're all the money. They're all in this thing. And so I think that's been a lot of the
Uh,
restrictions have been placed by these big institutions.
right.
So
And so it was
it's
big
just
of
my
you.
thought.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the church and corporate interests, but I think something's changing now where that's all kind of disappearing anyway, that whole allegiance to the old
Yeah,
dogmas. And no one can argue with your
right.
experience. And what's happened to you, I mean, this is, you've validated it with the photographs, with the healings, with just the change in who you are. So thank you, Chris, for coming forward and sharing. And I hope to experience, I hope to experience some of those.
Well, there's a possibility, maybe. Well, maybe sometime I can make it up to New York and we can go drink a coffee on a ridge somewhere up on a hill, a dark area, and have an experience.
And call these beings in. Well, I know a person, I know a place we could do that. I mean, I don't drink coffee, but I'll have some tea. But yeah, no, we'll do that. All right. I can get your information.
Okay.
I'll get your information, and I'd love to, yeah, you are tapped into something. And I think I think you're part of waking the world up, like you said. So yeah, I'm really happy you've shared this today, and have a beautiful weekend, and I'll be in touch. Thanks, Chris Bledsoe, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alan.
Thank you. What's your website? I appreciate it too. How can people find your website? Oh,
I'm under, I don't have a website, that's coming. But I'm under Christopher Lentz, L-E-N-T-Z Bledsoe on Instagram. Actually, my Instagram account is where I put videos of UFOs. I have a dozen there or more. And my Facebook is under Chris Bledsoe, but it's got Lentz in the middle, L-E-N-T-Z, Christopher Lentz Bledsoe on Instagram. And I'm on there all the time chatting with someone.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks again for your time. I appreciate it. And your gentleness and everything you're bringing to this world. I think it's important. Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Thanks. See you soon. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, bro. Bye.
Thank you, my friend.